everybody, how's it going? It's Shawn C.
Jamie P.
And we're here today with our good friend and our general inspector of choice, Bryan Poe. Jamie's been working with Bryan for a while and love what he does, and we wanted to bring him on to share some of his insights into the buying process and everything that's going on right now.
Wonderful.
So thanks for coming.
I'm glad to be here. So one of the things that I know that you asked about is a little information on my background. I started in construction sites sweeping floors and did everything from cleanup to framing roofs. And then my last position in a construction company was vice president of a small company when we had 30 guys, and I was doing all of the estimating, all of the job management. So I've gone through almost every level of the construction process. And I think that's important because this job is really for an older person who has experience, right? I've had to, the opportunity to get a couple guys to come work with me, but I told them I needed them to be an apprentice for 2 years, and they didn't want to do it.
Huh.
That I think the experience is so crucial, because on an inspection, you'll touch 1,000 things easily, whether you're seeing it or physically touching it. There's a lot going on, and that experience is crucial.
Yeah, I agree. I think the same in our profession.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. But no, I agree. I think that's one of the reasons you and I started doing business, down the road, back in the day, is that I knew you when you were in construction, and how thorough you were and how knowledgeable you were, with that stuff. And then when you transitioned into the home inspection field, I thought it was an ideal fit. And people have those questions all the time on, well, what do you think it's going to take to do this? Or what do you, is this a problem? Or how, if this was your home? And I think you bring that experience to the table, which is really valuable for home buyers and home sellers, from all categories. I think you have that expertise.
I'm glad to hear that. One thing that that experience gives me too is that there's nothing that scares me out there. Anything can be fixed, right? It's just a matter of your resources and your appetite for it. And some people can't see it that way. But, if you love the home and there's something wrong with it, it can be corrected.
Right. Right.
There was only one home that I would have told the guy not to buy because it was falling down the hillside. But he didn't care because he was going to scrape it anyway. He just wanted me there to, get an overall picture of what was going on.
Right. Right. So what do you think,
speaking of that.
Yes.
Speaking of that, the process. So for the home inspection, it's foundation to the roof and everything in between, right? Electrical, heating and cooling, plumbing, drainage, and then inside the home, wherever there's a fixture, whether it's a sink, a stall shower, a tub shower, everything gets operated. So it's a thorough inspection.
I've seen your inspections. I agree.
Oh.
Absolutely. So is there something, Bryan, that, we've done a lot of inspections. You inspected my house that I just bought.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And, is there something that homeowners, that, something that's just a common, something you always see that homeowners should be aware of, and maybe it's more than one thing, but something you see more than often, they can make corrections now, or certain, maintenance items that you recommend?
Yeah. So a lot of the things that we see are just differences between the way they were building 5-10 years ago to the way they're building today. And that's a large portion of it. But what I always tell people when I'm doing my summary is that there are some major things that are important. Roofs are important because they protect everything. Managing water is important because it can be a destructive force. And then anything that's related to safety is really important, whether that's fire safety, electrical safety, health safety, pool safety, all extremely important.
Yeah, it's good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people need to know that water is not your friend as a homeowner.
Mm.
You know,
Exactly. Yes.
yeah, you know, those tend to be big ticket items if you don't address them off the front. You know, undermine your foundations, things like that. Um, are you do you do a lot of home inspections for sellers before they go on the market?
I'm seeing more and more of it, and I think it's a good idea. Um, that way they're not blindsided. But then there's the other side of it, knowing that all inspectors aren't created equal. You know, if you have that inspection, then now you know about it and you've got to disclose it. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know a lot of, there's going to be home buyers watching this. There's going to be home sellers watching this. And I know it varies, but what's a general kind of price range for, you know, a home inspection?
That's pretty good for me. That's pretty easy to say. It's about 20 cents a square foot. Okay. There are some exceptions, right? If there's a raised foundation, it takes longer to inspect because I have to crawl underneath the home. So that'll drive the price up a little bit. I also inspect pools, so that makes it go a little higher. And I can't inspect a home in Simi Valley, the same size home in Simi Valley, for the same price I do a home in Beverly Hills, because it could be the exact same size, but it could be $500,000 compared to $2.5 million, right? And so there's more liability for me at that Beverly Hills home. So I've got to charge a little more just to see my, what is it? CMA?
Yeah.
CYA. CYA.
Yeah. Yeah, that.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, and you know, I know we kind of just jumped in, but that this is the, you know, if you're unaware of what the general inspector's job is to do, it's during your inspection contingency, when you get yourself into an escrow, you have someone like Bryan come out and do a full, like he just mentioned, full overview of the property, take a look. What we love about Bryan is if there is something that you know, let's say chimney, you know, the chimney really needs further evaluation, Bryan will let us know and recommend that, and we will go get a chimney specific inspector or something like that, plumbing, etc., which I think is very beneficial because number one, you're trying to save as much money as possible, you know, and if you don't need to do the inspection, maybe Bryan can shine some light on that, which I think is really helpful. I found it.
No, that's true. There are some inspections that I think are a waste of money, like a mold inspection. You know, all home inspectors will look for moisture and signs of moisture, and you can see mold, right? But during the mold inspection, I mean, they'll take air samples and they'll wipe walls and do things like that. But mold spores are everywhere. If you took a rag, got it wet, wiped the wall at your house, kept it moist, you're going to grow mold. So to me, I think unless you've got some underlying condition, I think mold inspections, you know, are sort of iffy at best.
Got it.
You know?
Got it.
Cool.
You might want to cut that.
No, I think it's true. I think if you see evidence of long-term water intrusion, you know, then you go and do those things.
Yeah.
But you know, to generally just do one, maybe, you know, I'd have you out. You're going to find certain things or not find certain things, and then somebody can make their decision. So,
Right.
you know, that's not bad. That's not editable.
Okay.
So, you know, we're also just trying to gauge the market in general, and I think all these various people that have played different roles in the buying process, the selling process, kind of have a feel on the pulse, you know, and what's going on. So how have you been with COVID? Have you been busy? Has it increased, decreased? What's going on?
So March was completely normal. And then in April, first 2 weeks of April, everything just fell off the cliff. And then it started picking up again at the end of April. And now through May, and May was normal, and June has just exploded.
Yeah.
So it could be largely in part to the interest rates or the fact that people are no longer fearful anymore, you know, of this thing, because we seem to learn how to manage it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, I think that goes along with what we've seen too. Although we're blessed, we've been very busy through this whole time, never stopped working. But I think there was a fear factor, number one, and then number two is once we learned how to handle it and get through the situations, people have come back, and you know, interest rates have played a huge role in that. And you know, I'm glad interest rates are low.
Right.
It's a great time. It's a great time to capitalize on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there you know, Shawn had asked you about a common thing that you see all the time. Is there, you know, do you find that people tend to disregard like roof maintenance all the time, or do you see, where do you see sellers where they should go, you know what, every year you should do at least this?
So for me, on the outside, it's the roof and gutters, right? Because if you get debris in the gutter, then it's going to back up and it'll spill out of the gutter. It'll impact your fascia board. It could impact other wood components around it. So that's the main item outside. Inside, it's the air conditioning system, your furnace and air conditioner, and properly maintaining the filter, changing your filter on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Because over time, if you don't change the filter, then it's no longer going to stop debris. The debris is going to get past the filter. Then it's going to get on the motor, the fan. It's going to go beyond that. It's going to get on the evaporator coil. And then the evaporator coil could, over a period of time, freeze up, right? It can't get the airflow through it. And then an actual block of ice can start forming on your evaporator coil. So filter maintenance is really important. And when I talk to people on site, you know, or in my reports, I'll tell them that you really should change your filter every 2 to 3 months, depending on how often you use the system.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So are these little things that then, you know, set off like little red flags? You saw a house that their filter hasn't been changed in years, and there's a whole world being grown on it, and then you go, okay, I got to pay a little more attention as I go through this house, because obviously maintenance hasn't been an issue, you know, hasn't been something they focused on.
Yeah, that's true. You can usually tell one thing will lead to another, right? If you're not doing this on a consistent basis, more than likely you haven't done other things on a consistent basis either.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Cool.
There's a service out there that I've been meaning to sign up for. It's called Filter Buy, and they'll send you a filter, you know,
right on time.
Yeah. And every time it comes in the mail, then, or however it's delivered, you would just change out your filter, and there goes your reminder. You know, when it shows up at your door,
put it in.
Yeah, you put it in. Right.
That's great.
Hey, we should put their email address.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna put a link to that. We are gonna put a link to that. So Bryan, if anyone wanted to have a pre-inspection prior to the sale, obviously they can, you know, if they're represented by us as a buyer, we can connect them to you. But what's the name of your company?
Accurate Inspection Services.
Okay, and your website is?
AccurateInspection.net.
Okay.
Yep, and I've got nothing but 5-star reviews on Yelp and referrals on other places like Facebook, and on my website, and on my online booking site. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you've obviously done a ton of inspections with us, and one in particular that stands out is a good friend of mine, and they're in the construction field themselves, and they're sticklers, and afterwards they both said that guy knew his stuff. So for what that's worth.
Good to hear.
Yeah, I thought that was great. So Bryan, thanks for doing this. I think there was some great information in there that you provided. We're going to put this out there, and if you guys have questions for Bryan, you know, you can always reach out to us and we'll put you in contact. We will include in the comments below his website and how you can contact him directly. So thanks so much, Bryan. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. You guys have a good day.
Great to see you.
All right.
Stay safe out there.
Likewise, Jamie.
All right.
See you guys.
Goodbye.
Be well.